I am Stefania, an Italian London-based personal style coach. And my mission is to help people boost their confidence while exploring and developing their personal style. At the moment, obviously, my in-person consultations are on hold, but I have found a way to carry on my mission. So with this series of talks, this is just one of them, where I am treating different topics with the same aim to boost your confidence and to make you look and feel good during and after the lockdown.
I'm Angela, and I've been doing hairdressing for quite a long time now. All my career, I've been a hairdresser. I started when I was 13 and then trained in the West End of London with a company called Burlington's. They were all ex-Vidal Sassoon. So hair cutting was very much very strong on all the training, and I stayed with them for about 12 years and actually opened salons with them. We opened 5 salons around Clerkenwell. We did shows and seminars all over Europe and everything, so that was fantastic. But then I just felt that I wanted to break away really from them, so I set up my own salon in Clerkenwell. And I was there for another 10 years. I'm going to give away my age soon. And then in 2002, I went to Shoreditch and set up a hair and beauty spa called The Parlour. And I was there until 2018. So I've been around for a long time now, and I'm still really passionate about hair and also the beauty side of things as well. And now in 2018, my lease came to an end. So I actually decided that because I've got 2 children and the rents and everything were really high, that I would become freelance. So yeah, I thought I'd give you tips and tricks, and just listening to my regular clients, what their problems have been, and also just hearing people asking me. But if there is anything you particularly want to know, then please do ask me. So is there anything you want to start with, Stefania, or do you want me to start off with?
I don't know. Usually we have usually with these talks, I have the Q&A at the end, but
okay.
Angela was thinking to start with the Q&A, and I think it's a good way, because if you have any particular issue with your hair you're struggling with, you can just ask your question and Angela is going to give her answer to you. So any question for her to start with?
Or if you're too shy, I can just start and then you feel...
Yeah, or I have a couple of people wrote me that they couldn't join the meeting, but they really wanted to, so for personal reasons they couldn't be here, but they said they really would like to know what to do with their roots, because gray hair growing and they don't know what to do. I guess there is very little to do with gray hair at the moment. I know for sure one of them is naturally black-haired. A lady is joining now. And the other one is blondie. So we have 2 different cases.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I can start on about colouring, and then I can give you lots of tips on cutting. Colouring is quite tricky, but I just so that you know, your hair grows about 1/4 of an inch a month. So it's not that much. It probably just seems that it's growing an awful lot in lockdown. There are ways to disguise it, and if you can, I would say try and disguise it rather than having to dye it yourself, if you can. But I will give you some options of what you can do yourself. I mean, one way to disguise roots coming through, obviously not so much the grey, is to give yourself a zigzag parting, and you literally can either take like a pencil or a comb. I've got a comb here, and you start at the crown of your head and you literally zigzag down, and then that will take away some of the harsh roots. I mean, I'm quite a dark brown and I've got blonde hair, and mine need doing. But if I know that I've got a Zoom meeting or a D meeting, then I will wash it before the meeting, because if you're washing your hair, you're brightening your hair. And there are some fantastic shampoos on the market that will do that. So I think one thing you can do is use this time to condition your hair, because yes, we want it coloured and everything, but if you can, concentrate on the health of it. So using a really good shampoo, and it is worth investing in professional brands of shampoo. I use L'Oreal. This is for coloured hair. And you don't obviously have to use L'Oreal. Aveda is really good if you like the vegan. It is a premium product, so it is more expensive. But even Boots, they do versions of vegan, organic hair products. But a tip is to wash your hair twice. So it's a bit like double cleansing your face. The first time it just gets the, you know, if you've got any product on your hair like hairspray or dry shampoo, which a lot of people are using, it will get rid of that. And then the second shampoo will really, really deep cleanse into the cuticles. And then my other tip is a hair mask. If you can use a hair mask once a week, again, this is brilliant for coloured hair. It's like a magic potion in a pot. You literally use about a 10p piece, and with conditioners and masks, you don't need to use too much. So about a 10p piece, and start at the ends, and then you work your way up to the middle. You don't need to plonk it on the roots and then work it down. If you put too much product on the roots, then you'll find that your hair would just go greasy and flat, and then you'll need to wash it. But ideally, wash your hair twice a week in lockdown. You don't need to do it every day. I mean, that's one of the good things about being in lockdown. And if you can actually leave it, so say if you are one of these people that wash their hair every single day, if you do leave it for 3 days, you'll find that the next time you wash it, it will actually last you a lot longer. It won't feel as if it's oily. So that's another tip. But for brunettes, it's actually easier to cover grey and to cover your hair. There's lots of little tricks you can do. There's so many sprays out there that are actually quite good for brunettes to cover the grey, or even say yours, even like a redhead, you can get things to match. My recommendation, I'm not being paid by this company, but there's a company, a hairdresser called Josh Wood. He was ex-Vidal Sassoon. He's got a salon in Belgravia. He launched home care products for people in between. And I would say that his products are one of the best on the market for home care. So again, then the trick is, how do you apply it? So it's easier if you've just got one color, like a one tint. If you've got highlights or lowlights, that's when it gets a little bit more tricky, because you can't do yourself highlights, but you can sort of put on a tint over the roots. I'm more than happy to guide anybody if they want to have like a one-to-one with me, how to put on root tints. There are loads of tutorials that I'm coming across that are doing that, or hairdressers, like some of my clients, well actually most of my clients are waiting, but I've said to them, if you do get really desperate, then I will literally, we can FaceTime each other and I will tell you what to do. Or maybe you've got a good husband that can that do it, or a teenager or a daughter or a son that might be quite artistic that can help you. And this area at the front is actually quite easy to do. It's the back area. There are sprays like this. I've got this one, but you can spray on to the roots. Now again, with brunettes, it's a lot easier and they seem to work a lot better. This is actually a golden blonde. I think you're a blonde, Stefania. I tried it. I've tried so many blondes and they just don't look good.
No. The problem with blonde is that you have to give oxygen before, so make the natural hair lighter and then dye it, right? So it's a quite complex process. It's not just like dyeing.
Yeah.
And you have to understand, you have to know the volumes of oxygen, so it's quite complex.
Yeah, but even the sprays, this isn't a permanent spray, this is a semi-permanent spray, so it just lasts for like you wash it out, so you spray it on if you've got a meeting, and then you wash it out the next day or whenever, and then it's gone. So for brunettes, they're okay, and they will say what sort of color. I would always go a shade lighter than what you think you are. So if you are dark brown, go for brown. Don't go for black or the darkest brown. Go for a shade lighter. That way you're okay. Safer. And that's whether you go for permanent color or for semi-permanent or even a spray. The other product, I haven't got it, but it's called WOW, W-O-W. It's like an eyeshadow. for the hair. That's good for brunettes. If you've got like little greys and you've got a meeting, you can literally just paint it on to the hairline, and it takes away any little greys that you've got coming through. That's a really good product. I haven't actually got any here. But for blondes, again, what I would say is using really good shampoos. You know, use blonde shampoos. If your hair is blonde but it's going a bit golden, then you can use a purple shampoo, and you can get them anywhere. You can get them online. That will tone down any brassy locks, but don't use that every time, sort of every other time, and that will tone down. But it is hard with blondes. Brunettes, as I said, it is a bit easier. But listening to the news, and obviously I'm keeping in touch with all my hairdressing colleagues, they're sort of saying there's rumours maybe the end of May, June, and I think maybe mobile hairdressers or freelance hairdressers where it's just one-on-one, they will be able to start maybe sooner.
Yeah, because the problem might be to go into a shop where there will be other people.
Yes.
So probably that is going to be a good solution. You mentioned the purple shampoo. This is what I do, and I find it extremely useful because, as you were explaining, it makes your blonde less yellowish. Yeah. So it's blending much better with the natural gray hair.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have blonde hair that maybe are light enough to become, to blend well with the silvery, so you can try that option. It's really working well.
Yeah. I mean, what I can say is hairdressers cannot wait to start work, and there's going to be so many available already for you. I mean, I can't wait to get back and do hair. You know, for the first week, you're like, oh, this is quite nice, and by the second week, but if there's any questions you want to ask me, if anyone's got any specific questions that they feel brave enough to ask. Yeah,
there is also the chat, so if you don't want to show yourself or talk, there is also the purple shampoo. I find it leaves hair very dry. Antonella is writing this. Yes, it leaves it dry. So maybe when you I need to admit someone else. Hello, Myra. So when you use the purple shampoo, maybe you need to use something moisturizing, like a hair mask, and also I, for example, use it only once a week for this reason.
Yeah, I was just going to say that you don't use it all the time. As I said, maybe every other time, or like if you're washing your hair every other day, then once a week is fine. If you're washing your hair just once a week, then obviously you can use it maybe just once, or if you're washing your hair twice a week, which I've been doing, use it once and then use your other shampoo. But definitely invest in a hair mask. It won't make your hair greasy. And with the mask, what I do is 2 shampoos in the shower, for example, and then I will put this mask on mid-length to end, and then we're all ladies together, wash all my little bits and do what I have to do. Then I will rinse it off. So I'm probably leaving it on between, like a minute. If you can sit in the bath and leave it on for longer, then great. But they pretty much work instantly, the mask.
Okay. Another thing that Antonella was writing, she cannot see the products. So tomorrow we are going to send a follow-up emails with our contacts. So if you have any question, you want to get in touch, you can have our contacts. And maybe, Angela, can you write also a list of the products you are showing today, so people will know that? Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Jen is writing, any tips on thinning hair ourselves?
Sorry, what was the question?
Thinning.
E ne ho una oggi alle 4. E ascoltami, se ti chiamo subito.
Antonella, you have the mic on and we can hear you.
I can hear her asking in Italian. I'm like trying to tune in to what she's saying.
So
I don't know if I can mute it. Okay, I can mute it myself. Okay. Can you read the chat, Angela, so you can read the questions yourself?
I haven't got any chat. Do I have to press something? I don't want to touch the screen. And
do you have any notification anywhere?
Got my glasses on. At the bottom, but not. Oh, is it in like a little? Is it got a dot on a screen on a little page?
Yes, you should see like orange dots, like the notification.
Right. Let me see
if you click there, you will see the questions.
Oh, something's happening on the right. Meeting chat. Okay.
So Jen is writing any tips on thinning.
Any tips on thinning hair?
Yeah.
Do I click off that? Shall I keep that on, or can you see me if I keep the messages on?
Yes, we can see you.
Thinning hair, again, there are some really good shampoos out there that are specifically for thinning hair. I mean, thinning hair is also to do with inside. There's different things. You're either born with it. You normally get your, on the father's side, it's the grandmother, they say, that you take after. So sometimes thinning hair is hereditary. It's also hormonal, and lots of things can start changing when we get into, like, you know, our 40s. I'm in my 40s, so things start to happen. But there are some really good products out there. Again, I can list the ones that I recommend, and there's also sprays. Like with yourself, I would use like it's like a root lift spray that you do put on your roots to blow dry your hair, to give the illusion that it's thicker. Colour can also help to thicken up thinning hair, but again, without seeing you, everything's sort of bespoke to what your hair is. But diet can affect hair. There's so much. But has it always been thin, Jen? Were you born with it like that?
I think she said, I meant cutting hair to thin it. So probably she has quite voluminous hair. So maybe what she wants to do is to have them, I don't know, like less thick.
Right, okay. So you're asking how to thin the hair out. Is it just the fringe, or is it round the sides? Really, I need to see her hair to give her advice of what she needs. I was also going to give you advice on how to cut your own fringe. I can do that now. Maybe that will help you, Jen. Is it a fringe, or is it out here that you're concerned about?
Out there.
Pardon?
Out there. You read yourself. Full length.
Full length. Oh my goodness. I would say, Jen, try and wait. It's not going to be that much longer, because you've got to be able to section your hair off. I've done a few tutorial videos, which I'm happy to send, but you need somebody to cut your hair for you. And let's have a consultation after, because maybe I can give you some tips what to do. I mean, there's things like this, I don't know if you can see it, which are thinning scissors, but you need to know how to use them. But is anybody interested on me giving them how to cut their own fringe, or whether they've got a child and their fringe is getting too long? If they want me to give a quick demonstration, I can, Stefania, if anyone wants that.
Yeah. Yes, please. They're saying yes, please.
Okay.
I think, Angela, as you said before, if it's going to happen end of May, maybe we should all wait a little longer. Because if you cut your hair yourself, you can try, but if it's going to be a disaster, then there's nothing you can do, or very little you can do. So if you can be patient, then just wait. But now I leave you to give your demonstration, but also I think we can also give some tips about how to maybe style up your hair during the lockdown, if you don't want to cut them or dye them and still look presentable. So now we can do this demonstration and then just give some tips about how to style up our hair anyway.
Okay, so with a fringe trim, if you do need to cut your fringe, or even if you've got little layers around here, if you've got like a Zoom meeting, cut your fringe when your hair is dry. So have your hair washed, blow dried. Don't do it when it's wet, because if you do it when it's wet, it looks longer and then it jumps up and it's too short. Okay, that's the first thing. So always cut your fringe when it's dry. The other thing is, I mean, I'm not going to cut myself a fringe in, but what you need to do is you section, so you section the front off with a comb using a wide end of a comb if you've got that, and you say, imagine that I've got a fringe, so I pull this forward, then clip it out with something. Most people have got these clips, so say you clip this out the way and clip that out the way. Okay, you need to slightly move your head forward, and then what you want to do is you want to take the comb under your hair. Okay, so I don't know if you can see me, so the comb goes under and you're just lifting it out a little bit. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold the comb with my left hand, and then whatever you've got, if you haven't got hairdressing scissors, which you can buy off of Amazon quite cheaply, if you've got any nail scissors, I would use those rather than kitchen scissors, which are quite, you know, chunky. And the trick is, you want to start in the middle, and you're going to curve, okay? And you cut upwards, so you're just, and keep it longer than what you think. So you literally point cut there, and then you go down. So as you're aiming to get longer towards your cheekbone, okay? And then if you've got a fringe on the other side, you do the same thing, but I would also section it off. So if you've got thick hair, do a little bit first underneath, section it off, put it back, then take another section, and the first section will act like your guideline, but do it, take off less than what you think, and then you can push it over. And so what happens is, if you're cutting it shorter in the middle then longer, it just sort of sits a little bit softer. That's obviously an issue. Some people have got that severe fringe, then obviously that would be a little bit different. But I hope that helps. And you can, if you have got layers, I mean, Jen, I don't know whether your hair's thick, curly, straight, or whatever. If you blow dry it into position, and if you see, say, for example, you think, oh, you just want a tiny little bit off, then just literally you can snip into it. But again, when it's dry, and just like you're drawing a line, that's what you want to imagine, very, very gently going down. But yeah, try to avoid things. I mean, there's so many things on the market that you can get. I mean, for a meeting, you know, you can even twist your hair. If it's a meeting on Team or Zoom, you don't need to worry about the back. So even if you have only got these clips, people aren't going to see them if that's what you've got. So you can just literally, I'm not saying you do that, but you know, it doesn't matter what's going on behind. But also things like, you can get these really cheaply. I've actually stolen these off of my daughter, clips. So see what's in your house first of all. These are really good. You can literally just slide those in. There's bands, Alice bands. I meant to bring down my scarves, I've left them upstairs. But you can get scarves, ribbons, and just wrap them. Yeah, just, you probably know this more, Stefania. Wrap them around your hair. That's a really good way.
I need to take off these just to give the demonstration.
Yeah,
While you speak.
Perfect demonstration.
I mean, this is quite long, right? But there are shorter one, and you can do like these 2 times, and then have a knot here. That you can do it behind the hair, right, or on the side, or even just, you know, a bow here. So that.
No, you did a good job. Well done. And also, I don't know about you, I think most meetings, it's not a perfect screen anyway, is it? So I don't think people are really, I mean, looking. So everyone's in the same situation. But I think accessories, it can really brighten things up. And even if you do wear your hair in a ponytail, if you've got some nice earrings, again, Stefania, I'm sure you'll agree or know little tricks, different earrings can brighten things up, or necklaces. So you're taking away the attention from your hair, you know, glasses, all those sort of things.
Yeah, I have prepared 2 other things. One is the headband.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I love those. And they're so easy, aren't they?
I like to use it when I really don't feel perfect, and I just put it on. Yeah. And as you were saying, people don't focus on my roots, they focus on these and the general look.
Yeah.
And this is really cheap. I bought it on Accessorize, so
Yeah.
it's good, and it looks good. And this is the next one. Ready? Let's suppose now there are lots of people that are doing this virtual party, watch party on Facebook. I'm going to have a party, virtual party next week. So
yeah. Oh, that's a nice idea.
Why not?
Do that. I like that. That's a really good idea. Why not? You forget that you've got, it's looking in your wardrobe, isn't it? And reminding yourself what you've got. That's really nice.
And I think the moment you wear this, you just feel like the party mood.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's such a good idea. I'm taking away that tip to go and find them. But also going back to the dry shampoo, that can also help with styling your hair, because if you don't want to wash it, if you spray some of this on, the dry shampoo, blast it with a hairdryer, that will give you some volume, and that will, then you'll find that easier to manage. And switch things over. Sometimes maybe if you have your parting on one side, change it over for the meeting or your Zoom party. You might find that you've suddenly got more body on that side. So don't be afraid. But I think also don't beat yourself up. As I said, we're all in this together. No one's judging. No one's judging anybody. And think of the money you're saving on not having your hair done. You're saving a lot of money.
Yes, it's very expensive. I think, you know what? One of the things that I've done is to switch my fringe on the other side, just to change, to have a little change. And I feel better. And my husband was complimenting me. You know what? Your hair look great. I think it was just a change, and it's a little change, but sometimes it means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the other tip, my daughter's really good. My hair doesn't work like this, but you can, I've got a band here. You can go to bed with your hair. If you put your hair up in a band, you take it like this and you twist it, and if you can manage to sleep in a band, and then the next day it can be all nice and wavy. Because my hair is dead straight, it doesn't do that for me. But if you've got a bit of a wave in your hair and you want to encourage that can also look nice. That beach waves. I don't know how much time we've got. I mean, there are wands, Stefania, that are really easy to use. Heated wands that you can just go like that. And then I haven't got that on me at the moment, but that will help with curls. So maybe we could do another session.
Yeah, because there are so many things to say.
Yeah.
I have a question for myself, actually. Yeah. Maybe some people can be interested in that. And then we can move on to colors and face shape if you want. So frizzy hair, because I am using straightener because I have naturally frizzy hair. And obviously also the oxygen that I use for the highlights is not helping. It's making things worse. So what kind of products you suggest to use for this?
1 second, I've got those downstairs.
Oh, cool. Guys, for later on, I have something interesting for you. Color cards for hair. So we're going to talk about colors.
Oh, I've got those as well. Very impressed. Okay, right. You need products. Nobody can wake up in the morning and have hair that's just perfect. It just doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen. So you do need to help your hair. So this product, again, I work a lot with L'Oreal. There are other brands on the market. This is called List Control. So it's a hair straightening product. So you'd put this on your hair when it's damp. When you've washed your hair, towel dry it, but don't go too like that. Just squeeze the moisture out. And if you can, maybe put your makeup on first, let your hair air a little bit, then you can start blow drying. So that's when you would put on your hair. So not when it's wringing wet, when it's damp. And you only need to use a little bit. I'll show you how much to use. I don't know whether you can see that.
Yeah.
It's probably like a 10p piece. Then you rub it into the palms of your hands. It will automatically go up to the tips, and you apply it sort of mid-length to the end. Again, you don't need to use a lot of that. A blow drying lotion, blow drying cream, I find really, really helps to smooth the hair, along with some oil. There's loads of oils on the market. You can, if your hair's really thick and curly and frizzy, what you can do is use this and then mix a few drops of the oils and then start to blow dry it. But with hair, if it is really curly, it is also about the blow dry and the hair dryer. I mean, I've got my hair dryer here, but again, the trick is use a nozzle, a medium heat. You need to section your hair off. So say I'm going to start underneath here. You can start with your fingers or you can use a brush, but I'm not going to put it on. But what you want to do is you want the nozzle to aim down the hair shaft that way. Don't start going up like that, because you want to smooth the cuticles down of the hair. If you go against it, then that causes frizz. And invest in gaining good brushes, Stefania, will help. But as a cream, a balm, and some oil, and you can also put bits of this, like a tiny drop of the oil on after the hair. And another little trick is if you take a brush or a comb or even a toothbrush, once you finish blow drying, spray a little bit of hairspray onto the brush and then just gently brush that through. Any little bits of hair that you've got up, it will seal all that down for you. So I hope that helps.
Fantastic. We can write all of these on the email tomorrow, even for myself. All right, we can move to the color. So I don't know how many of you are dyeing their hair. I mean, we're dyeing the hair or highlighting is the same. So one of the services that I usually provide is the color analysis. Obviously, the majority of people think it is useful for the clothes, so what kind of clothes to wear. It is useful also for makeup and also for hair. I tell you why. Even if you want to alter your, and you, Angela, are going to agree with me, I think, even if you want to alter your color, it is important to understand what are the main features of your natural color, and then you can move from them. What I mean is, in the hair, the main division is from cool tones and warm tones. So you can go lighter or darker and choose a warm tone or a cool tone Now, how can you determine that? Many hair has some sort of red shades inside, some red reflection. In that case, most likely your hair have warm features, right? So when you decide to go, so for example, you have brown hair and you decide to go darker, or maybe just dye your hair because you have gray hair, you can go for some tones like chocolate brown that is quite warm and rich. And if you want to go lighter, you can go for a honey blonde, probably. I have this color card here. I'm gonna show you. I hope you can see from the screen because, you know, screen altered the results. So as you can, let's suppose you have a middle brown like this, okay? This one, for example, I can see it clearly. You want probably this one is quite cool. This one is warmer. So if you want to go darker, these sort of browns here have no red shades inside at all. So they are darker tones still in the cool temperature. If you have a brown like this, which is warmer, so it has some red shades inside, you can go darker with a brown, as I was saying before, a chocolate, or you can go lighter. And here you have the division. You can see this sort of golden blonde here, and then you have the more like ash blonde and dark. So do you know the She's a Sugar, Emma Willis, I think? You know her? Emma Willis?
The one that does the voice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful one. So she is what I call the winter, okay? What I call a winter. So she has very cool tones and also bright. That's another thing. Not long ago, I don't know if she's back to a dark, but long ago she was a platinum blonde. She was amazing. So she got much lighter. So she altered her natural colors, but still she maintain the same hair features, so cool tones, okay? most likely, if she's going to dye her hair red, for example, she's not gonna look so fresh and beautiful as she is. All right. So that's another thing. Obviously, there are also, can you see them? There are also red shades. And obviously, the natural red hair, ginger hair, are always warm. And man has created artificial dyeing, artificial red that can be cool. So obviously there is a chance for everybody. If you want to dye your hair red, again, try to understand if your natural features are cool or warm. If they are cool, you can go for red with some bluish shades inside, like this, or like this, darker. If you have warm natural shades, you can go for warmer, like ginger red, like this. It's not easy, but at least if you have a doubt, you can discuss it with your hairdresser. And this is very important because, for example, on my personal experience, for a lifetime, I have been given highlights with a honey blonde tone, and I have cool features. So now I know my stuff. Now I know about colors, and I can see that. And I decided to go for cool tones. And trust me, I look much fresher now than 10 years ago. Just because of it's not just because of the color of the hair, but it's really having a great impact on the way we look. So that's my first suggestion. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, you have to take in the undertones as well, because some people, they want to go lighter or a certain color, and their skin tone as well has a lot to do with it, their eye color, everything. So, but and there's some people, I mean, Emma Willis, using as an example, I do wonder how the condition of her hair is being so light. She's got short hair, so you can't, there's some, you know, for me, I'm quite lucky, even though I'm dark brown, I can get up to quite a light color. But people with dark hair, if you want that, you're always going to have a warmth undertone. You really are. And even if you lift it up, and then what they do is they can tone it. So your hair, Stefania, maybe you've got more natural coming through. So it's easier now to get that more ash blonde, it sounds like, that you wanted, more of a cool blonde, because you've got more of a natural, you know, like the natural colors coming through as well. But that's a good hairdresser will be able to guide you. But those tips are really, really valid, and I agree with what you're saying. But you just always need to think of the condition of your hair. And
no, absolutely. I usually suggest people not to alter the hair color at all. Even people around 40, 45, they start to have many gray hair. Most of the time when they come to me, I show them how better they would look with gray hair rather than, you know, a blonde, which, as you were saying before, unless it's really, really treated with a strong oxygen, is still coming warm. So
exactly.
But I, for example, do highlights because I don't have too many gray hair at the moment. So it's just some stripes here and there. So I have decided until I'm going to have the head full or almost full of gray hair, I'm going to do these highlights.
No, absolutely. And if you've got blue eyes, haven't you, Stefania?
Yes.
So that sort of silvery grey and blue eyes in your skin tone, I think, looks stunning. So you have to take everything into consideration, and if you can maintain things, because you'll need to tone your hair regularly and use the right shampoos. It all makes such a difference to the condition of your hair. But I think while we're at home and we can't, this is the perfect time, if you can resist using box dyes, because the other thing is, if you use I don't know, because I haven't actually done anyone's hair since they've used Josh Wood, but Josh Wood is a professional hairdresser, so I'm sure that he's really thought about the home care kits, what they're made of. But it's the application, because when you do it yourself, you think, oh, I'll just do the roots, and then you'll get some bits into that band there, and then that will be different. So when you go back to the hairdressers, you might find you need a color correction, which is more expensive, more costly, and you know, and it might take a few goes to get it back to what it was, you know, because you've overlapped, so that bit of hair now is darker and maybe the ends are lighter. So there'd be lots of rainbows going on. That's fine. We're ready for it. Is there any questions has anyone got on colour or anything, Stefania? Has anyone asked you?
I don't know. If you have any question, and then we can move to my last tip and topic, the face shape. No questions.
No questions.
Well, you can keep on writing if you have anything jumping up into your mind. All right. My tip is about the future. Okay, when we are going back to the hairdresser and we want to cut our hair, we can do the same, cut as usual, or we can maybe be prepared and ask for something different, especially if we really want to have a change after this lockdown. Make a change that is complementing your feature and once again enhancing your features. So understanding what is your face shape is really important, and I'm going to explain why. So I have to go now. All right. Well, we are going to record it so people can catch up the end of the conversation on the social media. So obviously in styling, personal styling, what we do is also to work with proportion and lines and try to create balance. All right. So face shape, your face shapes is done by proportion and lines as well as your body. So now I have no time to explain you everything about the different face shapes and everything, but what I can tell you is this. Try to make 3 tests, okay? So the first one is to gather your hair up, okay? And try to see what is the frame of your face. You can do it, take a picture, maybe it's going to make it easier. You can do it from your mobile, you can print it, whatever. Or if you don't want, just do it from the mirror and try to understand what is just the frame of it. This is going to help you to understand what is the widest point, what is the narrowest point, okay? So in some cases, for example, the forehead is the widest point. For example, heart-shaped or triangular shape as a very just a wider forehead and the narrower jaws. So what happens in this case, for instance, if you add volume to your top with a fringe or I don't know, with some hairstyles, you just create even more imbalance. So what you have to do, on the contrary, is to give volume to the narrower point, okay? This way you can create balance. Other people have, for example, the forehead as the narrowest point, and then jaws that are more pronounced, okay, wider. In this case, you have to do exactly the opposite. So add volume to the forehead and try to remove volume from the bottom. And this is one thing. The other thing that you can try to do is also to take measurements of your total length and your total width, obviously from the widest point, the cheekbones usually. And in many cases, the width is 2/3 of the length, okay? When this proportion is different, you can have 2 cases. You have a longer face, so it's so-called oblong. So instead of 2/3 is a bit less, the width of your compared to the length. Oblong faces, for example, need to create balance by adding volume to the side where they miss volume. In other cases, for example, people have almost identical proportion between width and length. And for example, round-shaped faces. In that case, you need to do the opposite. Be careful not to add volume, but to, reduce a bit the volume, maybe with a long, straight and haircut. And so try to understand this. The last tip regarding the face shape is to understand the proportion between your 3 sections in the face. So the first section is the forehead, the second section is the nose and eyes, and the third section is the mouth, okay? They should be in a very naturally balanced face, they are almost identical. But many people have like a longest forehead or a longest mouth or a longest nose. This can be helpful again because, for example, if you find out your forehead is the widest part, the longest part, you can try to create balance with adding volume, so adding a fringe. Okay. So this is my tip. Try to understand what is your face shape, what are your lines and proportions, and try to create balance with the haircut. Once again, you can discuss this with your hairstylist or with Angela, and then you can decide what to do.
Great tips.
That's it.
And that's true. A good hairdresser should be able to look at you and instantly sort of know, but they were very, very good tips. I don't need to say any more on that. You've said everything.
I think we also went a bit over the time, so some people left already.
No
Jen said, thank you everyone and stay safe. Antonella said she needs to leave. Okay, so I just repeat for who's still in the chat. We are going to send a follow-up email tomorrow with our details and also with the list of products that Angela mentioned. After that, if you want to get in touch with questions or anything, just get in touch with us. We will be happy to answer your questions and about everything. Is there anything you want to ask before leaving? No. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Stefania, for inviting me along. It's been lovely chatting. I hope people enjoyed it.
I hope so. I did. I learned a lot today. So.
But yes, any questions, I will email those bits over, but any questions, then feel free to ask.
Okay. Thank you, Angela, for all your tips, for your time.
That's
and see you I hope to see you soon on social media.
Yeah, thank you.